Assalamu alaikum, I'm Arfa Akhlaq and welcome to Fried and Tasted. All the recipes here are tried and tested. So I love to make desserts that can be prepared a night before. This saves a lot of time and is less hassle. So one of those desserts is a mousse. It is easy to make and it tastes divine. So today I'm making dark and white chocolate mousse. You can make either, you can even make only dark and you can make only white chocolate mousse, or you can combine like I did. So for this mousse cake, I have used a base of a regular chocolate sponge cake. For the base, you can also use brownie, a stale cake, a dense cake, a cake that you got bored of eating. You can use anything as a base. And then I have topped it with dark chocolate mousse. And after it sits, I have poured white chocolate mousse over it. And then I have decorated it with some homemade chocolate decorations. And I have explained this too in this tutorial. So if you like it, don't forget to subscribe and stay connected. So before going to the ingredients for the mousse, here I'm making a chocolate base for my mousse, and I have taken a chocolate sponge cake. You can take any kind of chocolate cake, be it moist, dense, a Britannia cake or whatever you want, and I've taken a cake ring and lined it with cling wrap and put a cake board under it, and then I'm putting this cake pieces under it and tapping it lightly with my hands. Now take a saucepan. Its diameter is a little smaller than the diameter of the cake ring, and press it like this. This way we will settle down the chocolate crumbs and make a base of it. So for the first layer, which is the chocolate mousse, the dark chocolate mousse layer, I have taken some chocolate chips. Here I have heavy whipping cream in it, some milk, some butter, and here I've taken one egg that I'm going to separate. It means I'm going to separate yolk and then white in a different bowl. So let's see what to do now. Here I have separated egg yolk and egg white. I have taken egg white in this big container and I'm just going to whip it until stiff peaks. To make sure that it is whipped properly, I'm going to flip this container of egg whites, and if nothing falls, it means it is done, and I'll keep it aside. I have transferred the egg white in a separate bowl, and now is the time to whip the cream the same way we did for the egg whites. The cream is also whipped nicely, and now I will keep this aside as well. So here I have arranged a double boiler setup. I have taken a heat-proof bowl on top of a pan filled with bubbling hot water on stove, and in this bowl I'm adding chocolate chips, some butter and milk, and I will just whisk everything until it melts. And now everything is melted and well incorporated. I'm adding egg yolks and whisk it vigorously. Keep whisking for 1 minute more. The batter should be hot to touch. Now I'm going to take it off the boiler. Back to the counter, and now here I'm adding these whipped egg whites in it, and I will combine it with the chocolate mixture. After everything is well combined, next goes in the whipped cream. After combining whipped cream too, our mousse batter is almost ready. We just need to add one more thing in it. And that thing is gelatin. You can actually skip gelatin, but then for that you have to set the mousse for a long time. So here I have taken gelatin and I'm adding a little bit water in it, mix everything and let it sit until it blooms. So here I'm doing an optional step. I have taken condensed milk and combined it with some water, and I'm going to drizzle it all over the cake. I'm doing this only because I've used a sponge cake and it is very dry, so this makes it a little moist. Our gelatin has become fluffy, and this is called blooming of gelatin. And now just before adding it in the batter, I'm going to microwave it for 30 seconds and melt it. So here, like I mentioned before, my batter is ready and the gelatin has melted in the microwave. And here goes the gelatin inside the batter, and I'll whisk everything.
And here is the one final whisking of all the ingredients. My mousse setup is ready and I'm just going to pour this batter inside the cake ring. I have covered a little more than half of the cake ring, and now this mousse goes into the fridge for 2 hours at least before I put the second white layer.
Now again, for the white chocolate mousse, the ingredients are exactly the same. Only difference is that instead of brown chocolate, I'm using white chocolate chips here. So I have heavy cream, some butter, milk and egg that I'm going to separate, egg whites and yolk separate. And then I forgot to mention, I mentioned it before also, I have this halal gelatin here, all this much.
For the white mousse, I did the same thing here. I have whipped egg whites as well as whipping cream. Again the same step, I'm blooming gelatin with little bit water here. Fast forward, I did exactly the same double boiler thing that I did with dark mousse, but this time with white chocolate, and here I'm combining egg whites in it. After combining egg whites, here goes the whipping cream. As I said, the process is exactly same what we did before. The white mousse batter is almost ready. Here I have bloomed gelatin and I'm going to microwave it for 30 seconds just before adding it in the batter. And here is the final step. I have melted gelatin here and I'm adding it in the batter. Give it a final mix, and this white mousse batter is also completely ready. I have just taken out my dark mousse layer and you can see that it is set, and now I'm going to pour this white chocolate mousse on top of it. The cake ring is full up to the brim and I'm just arranging the cling film a little, and now I'll set it in fridge for at least 5 to 6 hours. For the chocolate decoration, here I have taken a silicone sheet. You can take any non-stick surface, and here I have white chocolate chips melted. I have microwaved it for 30 seconds and then take it out, mix it again, and then again microwave it for 30 seconds and repeat the process until it is melted. I have poured it over the sheet and then I'm smoothing it with an offset spatula. It does not need to be very smooth, but just a general sense of neatness should be taken in mind. And here I have a cake scraper with a comb design at the end, and look how I'm doing it, like making a wavy pattern with it and removing all the excess chocolate layer from top. I did the same thing for the second layer as well, and for the third layer I'm just going to drizzle this remaining white chocolate in a crisscross pattern. There is no need to follow any specific pattern for this. And now I'm done with this. I will leave it to set on the counter itself for 5 minutes. If it is very hot where you live, you can put it in fridge for 2 minutes. So it has cooled down. If I touch it, nothing sticks to my hand. At this point of time, I'm going to pour a layer of molten dark chocolate on top of it. I've melted it in the same way I've melted the white chocolate, and I'm going to put a thin layer on top of it. Not very thick, not very thin, but like cover all the area with it. Very carefully I'm smoothing the top of it. Like, I don't have to press it very hard, because if I press it very hard, a thick layer of chocolate might come out, so just be very gentle with it. I repeated the process for all the 3 layers, and now I'm just going to let it set on the counter itself for just 2 to 3 minutes until it semi-sets. I don't want it to set completely. Now if I touch it, nothing comes on my hand, but you can see that it is not completely dry. There is still glaze on the chocolate, which means that it's still wet. So at this point of time, I'm going to make some designs here. I have made some vertical lines, and then I'm going to make the diagonal lines to make triangles. I have made squares and circle on the last layer, and for the middle layer I'm making just this wavy kind of a pattern. You can actually do anything, whatever you feel like. And now I will let it sit in the fridge for 5 to 10 minutes more. After taking it out of the fridge, you can see that the chocolate has become hard, and it will release the silicone sheet or any non-stick surface that you have used by itself very easily without even putting any pressure. And because of the cuts that we make, it has got the shape as well. Now here you can see, here I have the circle and the squares in which I have done the crisscross. Just look at them, they look really elegant and beautiful, and you can see that it was so easy to prepare them. The mousse is set here, so before taking it out, I'm just going to scrape the sides with the help of an offset spatula so that it releases easily. So just run the offset spatula around it. I have transferred the cake to the serving cake tray, and I have put these chocolate decorations on top of it, and the rest of the chocolate decorations you can easily store in a Ziploc bag.